Joining us right now from the White House, Ivanka Trump, special advisor to the president, who also happens to be her father. Ivanka, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Congratulations.
Thank you. What a day to be here to celebrate.
No kidding. And your name actually has been linked to this for a while because you were pushing an increase in the child tax credit. In the ultimate final bill, it essentially is doubled. And I know you also had Mike Lee with you, the senator from Utah, and Marco Rubio as well. Explain to the folks at home what it's going to do for them.
Well, the president was very clear that he really wanted to ensure that this bill accomplished two goals of enabling American businesses to grow and be competitive and therefore lead to wage increase for working Americans, but to also target relief at middle-income families. And the child tax credit is an incredible vehicle to do that. We all know the cost of raising children has gone up exponentially in this country, as until recently wages have stagnated. So raising children is very expensive, but it's the most important investment that we as a country can make in the future. This is the next generation of American workers, American entrepreneurs and innovators. So the child tax credit was doubled. The refundability was expanded. Very importantly, the standard deduction, the standard for the average family, the standard deduction was actually doubled, which is enormously beneficial. The child independent tax care credit was maintained as part of the bill. The adoption credit was maintained.
A lot of good stuff in there.
Well, when you look at the things that were cut, the things that were cut were the loopholes that benefited lobbyists and the special interests. The things that were maintained or expanded were things like the child tax credit that would have such meaningful impact for everyday Americans. One of the things that was really so amazing to me in traveling across the country is just the sense of financial fragility most American families experience, even middle-income American families. The average American family can't come up with $400 in the event of an emergency. And my father is committed to changing that. This administration is committed to changing that. And what we're doing to encourage economic growth through deregulation is one of the mechanisms. But tax reform is an enormous vehicle to create the type of growth that will lend itself to prosperity for all Americans. And this is a historic milestone, a historic accomplishment. We're all incredibly excited. We've been working so closely with Congress and as an administration unified in achieving the president's goals.
Yeah, Ivanka, some of these companies are already benefiting. It has not even been 24 hours, and workers at some of the companies that we all use on a daily basis are benefiting. For instance, AT&T, 200,000 of their employees are getting $1,000 each before Christmas. And then at Wells Fargo, the hourly wages are now going up to $15 an hour. Fifth Third Bank, their wages are going up to $15 an hour. Comcast, the non-executives, the people who aren't the bosses that make the big bucks, 100,000 of them are getting $1,000 bonuses. So you're saying some of these families that are $400 away, they can't cover an emergency. They're living paycheck to paycheck. $1,000, that's really big right before Christmas. What a gift for them.
It is such important, meaningful relief. And really, Ainsley, this is just the beginning. It's just starting. So we know that this is going to only increase and grow as companies bring back money that have been parked overseas, as companies reinvest in their businesses. One of the incredible elements of this plan is the fact that for 5 years, 100% of capital expensing can be written off by businesses. So it enables them to modernize, to invest back into their businesses. So I'm deeply passionate about entrepreneurship and encouraging American innovation. And I believe the tax reform is so critical for us to be competitive and create that next generation of American entrepreneur and small business owner and give them the confidence to launch their business and give them the confidence to invest in their business and invest in their workforce.
But if these major corporations don't take advantage of this opportunity and do the right thing instead of putting it into the executives' pockets, they're never going to get it again. But I want to move forward. Moments ago, I spoke to Senator Bob Corker behind the scenes. He was one of the no votes originally that became a yes vote. Senator Flake, Senator Collins, others were no, and they came aboard. You played a role in that. You never want to bring attention to yourself. I respect that. But he brought attention to you. Listen. Oh, we don't have it? He essentially said that Ivanka played a major role behind the scenes in getting us to a yes vote in order to explain further what he needed and what the rest of the Senate needed. Can you bring us behind the scenes?
Yeah, and it was a great privilege to be able to do so. We worked incredibly well as a team. I think we've, over the course of the year, learned how to work as a collective and with a unified voice, and you saw that. So I spent a lot of time on behalf of the administration and with members of the administration, Gary Cohen, Secretary Mnuchin, our whole team at OLA, on the Hill and talking to different senators. I spent a lot of time with Senator Corker as well, and he had real integrity around this process. So I will say that for sure. He had his concerns. He felt that his concerns were adequately addressed, and he really believes that tax relief coupled with the administration's deregulatory actions will create the growth that will start to erode and ultimately eliminate the national debt that has been incurred over the last several decades.
He never asked for a Corker kickback on some pass-through companies that have been talked about. Am I correct? That is not something you worked out?
Right.
No, absolutely not.
All right. Well, Ivanka, go ahead.
Oh. No, I will say that, leadership was really incredible in Congress. So I had the privilege of meeting many people for the first time and cementing relationships with many others. But whether it's Senator Scott, who you were talking about earlier, who was a true champion for working families. From the very first meeting I had with him, he was deeply passionate about all of the issues we discussed, doubling the standard deduction, the child tax credit, the child independent credit, the additional credit of $500 for those families who take care of adult dependents, and that is tremendous financial and emotional burden on so many Americans. So Senator Scott was incredible. Chairman Brady was incredible. Really, it was very nice to work as a collective towards a unified
I'm sure
vision.
yesterday was a special day in the White House. You know what happens when you do a good job at your job? Your dad's going to be gassing up the airplane and sending you all over the country for for future legislation. Congratulations.
It is my greatest pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to doing a lot of traveling in April when people realize the effect that this has, both on the process of filling out their taxes. The vast majority will be doing so on a single postcard, but also having experienced the relief that will be starting as early as February. So then it will be a real privilege to show not only what the companies are doing, but the personal impact that it's going to have to so many people across this country.
And if that's the case, we're so happy for the little guys, the ones that really deserve to have that extra $1,000 in their pocket or whatever it may be.
100%.
All right.
Thank you.
Ivanka, thanks for joining us from the North Lawn.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas to you.
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
holidays.
To you too.
And,
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
A great way to celebrate.